Next, on the reaction review. Very important, we start our stopwatch and we take our heading. Oh, I want to land in a carrier. Must keep going. Must go to Southampton and review Southampton and be disciplined. Plot twist, major plot twist. The mission. 1. Learn to fly real-world visual navigation. That's VFR for short. Don't worry, it's going to be simple as hell. 2. Using what we learned, fly from the Isle of Wight to Southampton Airport. ETA must be 12 minutes from point of origin. 3. Revisit Just Flight Cessna 152 as that's what we're taking with us. 4. When we get there, review Southampton Airport by Orbx. 5. Potentially, maybe, possibly have a pint of avgas at the airport fuel farm. This is Just Flight Cessna 152 Golf Bravo Golf Alpha Echo, and we're going to be taking this with us on our nav today, and I'm going to show you, if you get out there, can you get in the back? Can you kind of disappear maybe? Thank you. So we're going to have a look at how, in a very simple way, of how to navigate using just a chart, which I put in the links below. You can buy them for about £10-20 or a few dollars. I would just close the door there. Okay, now, you don't necessarily need a ruler to measure nautical miles. You do need a chart. I'm going to show you a link in the show notes below. You'll definitely need your wristwatch. Stopwatch would be nice, a pen, and maybe a bit of paper. And that is all you need. But actually, all you really need is your watch and the chart. I will put a link below where you can find these charts, but they should be about £10-20 at most. Okay, so we're going to take off at Sandown in the Isle of Wight. We're going to take off visually, go north, and we go overhead ride, and we start our stopwatch. Then turn to our heading, overhead Southampton Airport. And that's where you want to be at a certain time. So what do we need? We need our heading, we need the distance, we need to know how long it'll take to arrive overhead. Accuracy will be within 3 minutes, plus or minus. Our heading would be 20 degrees right or left of track. And this works if you fly between 70 and 90 knots, up to 20 nautical miles. How to measure distance? You can get one of these rulers if you want to, but they're about 20-30 quid. But you actually don't need them, and I'm going to prove that to you. Now, you have to have a 1.5 million scale, just like your chart. But look, you don't need that because you got your thumb. If you measure from the very beginning of your knuckle to the tip of your thumb, that'll measure 10 nautical miles in 1.5 million scale. And the good news is everyone's thumb is the same size. There you go. Aren't opposable thumbs great? I'll leave a link below anyway. Next, getting your heading. In a circle, there are 360 degrees. You have north, east, south and west. North starts at 0 or 360. It goes right and increases to 090, then south 180, and then all the way to west 270, and then all the way back up to north again to 360 and then 0. So as you turn right, it increases in heading. Now let's put our watch down here and transpose that, and let's pretend this is a chart. If I want to travel in the 3 o'clock on my watch direction, going from A to B here, I take 3 o'clock and I'm going to multiply that by 3. 3 3s are 9. 090. And that's the heading to go east. So again, let's try again. 12. Let's go the 12 o'clock direction. So we're going north. So 12 multiplied by 3 again is 36. You just add the 0. 360. Then let's try one more, a little bit awkward. So let's try the 11 o'clock position. Draw an arrow. A bit more straighter than that. So 11 o'clock. 11 multiplied by 3 is 33. 330. And that's the direction we travel to go at the 11 o'clock position. We're going to take off from Sandown, visually fly to ride. When we get to ride, very important, we start our stopwatch and we take our heading. I've drawn a line here. Very important to draw a line, and there's Southampton up the top, so we want to be overhead. It's very important to have your chart facing north, up or away from you. That's critical. So I've drawn a line here. So I'm going to put my watch and transpose the line I have drawn onto the clock. What time is that arrow going towards, that line going towards? About 11 o'clock. Now, it doesn't have to be exact. So 11. Now, let's do the simple maths. Okay, so 11 o'clock. Let's let it focus a bit. 11 o'clock. 11 multiplied by 3 is 33. Add the 0, 330 degrees. And that's where we want to fly. This technique uses no wind. If you want wind added, I can do a more involved technique if there's interest. Getting your distance and time for ETA. How do we get our time? How do we work that out? So we got our heading. Let's use our thumb for distance and time. That's 10. And we'll say 6. Doesn't have to be exact. So 16. So 16 nautical miles. Okay, from overhead ride to Southampton. So 16 nautical miles. And what you do is you divide that by 2. And that gives you 8. You take your answer 8, divide that by 2 again, and that gives you 4. Add the two answers up, being 4 and 8, and that gives you 12 minutes. So 12 minutes. No wind. I can show you a more involved technique if you're interested. Let me know in the comments. So to summarize, our heading is 330. For 12 minutes. Overhead right, turn 330 for 12 minutes. Okay, let's start this up. Put on the master. Fuel is to be on. Flicky, switchy, fuel lights and beacons and whatnot. So this 150 is really detailed and good. Even the circuit breakers work. We're going to have a look. You'll see it as we're going to our little nav to Southampton to review the airfield. So I'm going to start her up. Mixture in, that would be wise. There we go. Starting up. No smoke, no fire. And the fuel's a little bit low, but I'm sure we'll make it there. T's and B's are in the green. So yeah, okay, let's start taxiing. No one else around, so let's add a bit of power and move off. Of course the parking brake is on, and they generally don't work. They're not used in the real Cessnas very much. They're very unreliable, the parking brakes, so we're just going to move off. We're not going to start our stopwatch just yet. We're going to wait till we're override. You'll notice I haven't done the proper checklist procedure, but if anyone wants to see the whole procedure, it's not very big, it's not very complicated for the 150, do let me know. Now, full power and off we go. The sounds of this aircraft are great. I can even hear the oleo pumping. I'm climbing out and pitching for 60 knots. That's called the best angle of climb, or VX. Now we're at 500 feet. We're going to take a right-hand turn to the north. We're going to go overhead right, and then we're going to start our stopwatch for our nav. Nice view out the back there. So we're going to continue our climb up to 2,500 feet. I am going to speed this up and slow it down from time to time so I don't bore you to tears. So I'll continue our climb, enjoying the eye candy. So let's just lower the nose a little bit and have a look out and raise my seating position there so I dead ahead see it. We're just about to be overhead ride, and I'm going to take a heading of 330. It's usually turn time talk. I'm going to start my timer. Now I have a timer I'm going to set on the lower right hand of the screen because I'm going to be speeding things up so I don't bore you to tears. I'll stop from time to time for important little tips and tricks. There's the stopwatch started now. It's going to be 12 minutes overhead ride to Southampton and a heading of 330. So let's speed it up and see how we get on. Okay, I've spotted a carrier group. I've spotted a carrier group. So I'm going to go around it and we'll make that into a bit of an exercise, okay? And then we'll speed it up again. But I'm taking a right turn here and I'm going to explain what I'm doing because this technique doesn't work if you do not keep your heading. But sometimes you've got to go around obstacles. And really I'm doing this because I want to get a view of the carrier group. I haven't seen carriers in X-Plane yet because I've only been using it for 3.5 months at most. So I wonder, can you land? Oh, I want to land at the carrier now. I want to land in a carrier. Must keep going. Must go to Southampton and review Southampton and be disciplined. I really want to land on a carrier now. Will I? No, I'll keep going. We're going to go to Southampton. Okay, we're going to go to Southampton. But they look cool. There's 2 carriers I can make out there. And, but don't worry. We're going to be staying on track. We're going to be overhead to Southampton. Now I know I'm turning off heading, but we're going to fix that, and you're probably wondering how, but I'm going to speed this up, and when I get back track, or should I say when I get back on track, literally, I'm going to explain to you how to avoid an obstacle whilst you're en route. Now the technique of navigation I'm showing you only works if you keep your heading right, but I've gone around the carrier group, and here's a simplified example of a technique to use to go around an object, a cloud or a town or whatever it may be. Okay, so now we're back in heading. What technique have I used to avoid that obstacle? Okay, so we're going from A to B. Our heading is 330. There's the obstacle we want to avoid. So we take a right turn at some point to avoid it. Plus 30 degrees I'm adding for my heading for 1 minute. So plus 30 degrees, that gives us heading 360 degrees. Then after the minute I take a left turn, and that heading will be double. That won't be 30 degrees, it'll be minus 60 degrees, which will give us a heading of 300 for 1 minute. And then after that minute we take a right turn for 330 for 1 minute. Of course there's no winds today, so we don't have to worry about corrections for the wind. So with that technique you can do your turns up to 30 degrees or 20 degrees. Your time can be 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes, so it's all the same thing. Now I'm always looking out when I'm flying, and you should always know where you are in relation to your tracking. You see the runway to the lower right hand side? Because I sped up the images, you didn't see that, but that is Gosport Airfield. It's an airfield near Gosport. Now if you look at the chart you can see it there, so we just passed Gosport, so we should just be coming over the coast. There's Gosport Airfield, which we just passed. There's the coast obviously, and we must be a little bit left of track, just about there where my arrow is. So that is pretty much where we are now. It doesn't have to be exact. I expect to see the coast. There's the coast coming up there to our left, so we're just pretty much at that point, but we don't have to be exact. Now in all fairness, this does take an awful lot of practice, but if you get a chart, it's great fun, especially with Orbx scenery, because it's so realistic. It's photoreal scenery, it's great. Okay, so we got about just under 6 minutes to go. Let's speed it up so I don't bore you to death, and we'll slow it down when we get close to Southampton Airport. I just think the scenery's great. I mean, looking out here, I can look at the chart, tell where I am, look behind me, and oh, there's the carriers again. I want to land on the carrier. Oh, let's keep going. Okay, 4 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Let's go. Now I did say I was going to have a look at this 150 from Just Flight, so I'm just going to show you an example that I love. If you put the flaps down, it works, okay? But if you take the circuit breaker off and then try to put the flaps down, nothing happens. Now I've never seen any other airplane that actually has such detail. Even the circuit breakers work, I just can't get over that. Like if I switch off the fuel gauges go pop, go down. I have to take off the steering wheel. And you see them, look, pop, they're gone. And then put it back on again, they go up again. But it's just the level of detail impresses me so much. Even the visors work and the air vents work. Now you don't get the air blowing in your face, obviously. But it's just that even the cracks and the details. I can't fault this aircraft, I really can't. It just looks superb. Of course you can't open the doors in flight, unfortunately. But who does? And all the instruments, VORs, ADFs, everything works really, really well. So let's just continue on. We've got 1 minute and 26 seconds to go, and it's gone right under the nose. So we're going to start descending now, and we're, well, okay, I think we got 1 minute to go. I think we'll be a little bit late, however, because I did that turn earlier on, but we're only going to be late for about maybe 40 seconds. So we're going to be 40 seconds off our target, so it isn't bad. It's not a bad technique. So I'm just checking the power back a bit here. I'm going to speed it up so I don't bore you to tears, but we'll have some iCondy on final. Okay, so not bad. 6 seconds to go. That looked like it worked. I mean, that worked pretty good. Now, when you're flying this, you kind of look at it a little bit more, which you should be doing in real life, that's for sure. But it works, so that simple technique I showed you works. So now we're at Southampton Airport. Let's do an approach and landing. Let's have a look at some iCandy and review our mission, which is Southampton, and then maybe possibly some avgas. First impressions are quite good. I like the railways. The airfield, it just matches the scenery, and that's what they've done. They've made the airport to match the scenery. Coming in at 70 knots, a little bit high, but no big deal. It's a VFR flight. We don't have to follow the pappies necessarily today. And I do like the detail initially. Now I haven't done a comparison with this, the standard scenery, I just jumped straight in. But I do notice the grass on the side straight away. That looks pretty good. That does. Okay, take the flaps up and we'll just slow down here. I do like the grass on either side of the runway. It does give you some sense of reality. I paid $28 Australian for this scenery. Let's have a look. It looks pretty good. I think you'll be the judge of that. I'm going to prowl around now and see if I can find that fuel farm. What do we have here? Looks like a fuel farm. I could do with a pint of tasty avgas. Plot twist, major plot twist. The lad serving said the carrier was a new Queen Elizabeth class of carrier, and apparently it's not armed yet. We're going in. Oh, I didn't know there was aircraft carriers in X-Plane. I'm so excited. So I've got all the flaps down and we're going to do a nice touchdown and just hold her off there and just hold her off. Here we go. Got to stop in time. Oh, bugger. Disappointed. I haven't been this disappointed since I got that arrow through the neck and then discovered there was an electricity bill attached to it. I don't care if I have to stay up to 4 o'clock every morning, every day. I'm not publishing this video until I find a carrier on X-Plane. I found a carrier on X-Plane. So here we are on final and we're going to do a touch and go. There's a blistering wind coming towards us and the carrier is moving. So we probably have about 45 knots of airspeed while we're standing still. So I'm going to float around here a little bit and have a look. There's loads of detail here. See the props. You see the props now shortly. Even the radars are spinning. The weathering, everything. It looks absolutely fantastic. See the props spinning there in the lower right-hand corner. It looks really, really good. Now I wonder what your man's thinking there, looking at us. Look at him. Oh, what's he doing? Interesting. I wonder what those letters are for. Just a bit closer now to those props spinning. You can just about see them to the right. I'm just going to touch down here as well. Maybe just a little bit of a touch and go. Boing, there we go. And I'll add a little bit of power and we're going to go blasting off. And we're going to have a look at that helicopter that's... That helicopter is obviously glued to the carrier. I can't keep up with the carrier like that at all. But it looks really good. Look at the deck rising. Perfect parking spot here. I'm going to pop it down here and then go to the officers' lounge for a pint of avgas, or probably Jet A1, knowing because they're all fine jets. Thank you so much for watching once again. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the nav was useful. And I'd like to thank those who subscribed in the last week. Thank you very much for that. That's really appreciated, very much so. It does give me ammunition and fuel to create more complicated and varied content. Now, I was a little bit late this week because this video went on for 20 minutes. I took on way too much. But hopefully, if you like that VFR nav stuff, I can do more. Do leave me notes in the comments. Thanks for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.